Hi, I'm Jacqueline from Young Dragon Slayers, and here are 5 Norse gods in Dungeons & Dragons. The pantheon of Dungeons & Dragons is vast, containing mythical deities from our world, like Asmodeus, and original gods, like Selûne. When playing a D&D character with divine powers, like a cleric or a paladin, you get to choose one of these deities to get power from, plus you may encounter them along your adventures. If you're a fan of Norse mythology, you may wonder what Norse gods are in D&D and how you could incorporate them into a Norse mythology campaign or into your own D&D character. If that's you, watch on. People ask if Dungeons & Dragons is based off of Norse mythology, but strictly speaking, D&D isn't based off any one thing. It's a compilation of a bunch of tropes, genre conventions, mythologies, and inspirations infused with original ideas. Some of these influences are more modern, like the Lord of the Rings series, or old, like Irish mythology. But even a cursory glance at D&D will tell you that Norse mythology was definitely an inspiration. This is clear looking at the types of creatures in the world of D&D, like dwarves, dwergar, elves, dark elves, or as D&D calls them, drow, frost and fire giants, trolls, and dragons, all of which can draw roots back to Norse mythology. Gods 1 and 2 are Surtur and Thrym. In Dungeons & Dragons, the fire giants worship Surtur, while the frost giants worship Thrym. These are based on Norse figures with the same names. In the myths, they're not strictly gods, but Jotun, beings with similar powers to gods. Surtur was a fire giant who guarded Muspelheim, the realm of fire, and carried a flaming sword. In the prophecies of Ragnarok, he used this sword to battle Freyr, engulfing Midgard in fire. Thrym was a frost giant, and his story is one of my favorite in Norse mythology. He once stole Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, promising to return it if they'd let him marry Freya. So the mighty god Thor concocted a plan, bringing the shape-shifting Loki to assist. Thor dressed up as Freya, and Loki shape-shifted into a bridesmaid and fooled Thrym into thinking that Thor was Freya. Thrym might not have had a very high intelligence score, or perhaps Loki rolled high in deception, but true to his word, Thrym brought them Mjolnir, which Thor promptly used to defeat him. Never underestimate the power of drag. In D&D, Surtur is a lesser deity worshipped by the fire giants. Like in Norse mythology, he lives in Muspelheim, but in D&D it contains a doorway to the elemental plane of fire. The flaming sword carries over as well as a 15-foot-long greatsword. Scions of Surtur can summon massive waves of lava, generate shockwaves in the earth, emit white-hot embers, and swing a mighty blade of lava. His twin brother Thrym, on the other hand, is worshipped by D&D's frost giants and rules in the realm of Fimbulwinter, which of course is within the elemental plane of chaos. Instead of a flaming greatsword, Thrym has a great axe, and, in earlier editions, can breathe a cone of cold. His children wield axes of ice, but they also have more natural weapons on their side. They can summon and throw entire glaciers, dealing massive damage. 3. Hela. In Norse mythology, Hel is the daughter of Loki and the frost giant Angrboda. Hel rules over Niflheim, the underworld, as the goddess of death. Her appearance is like Two-Face on steroids. Her face is half ugly, half beautiful, her body is half alive, half dead, and her appearance is half black, half white. Her father once tricked another god into killing the great Balder with a spear of mistletoe. Because Balder didn't die in battle, he was sent to Niflheim rather than Valhalla. Balder's brother begged Hel to let Balder go, telling her how sad everyone was that he was gone. So Hel made a deal, saying that if everyone in all the realms wept for him, she would release him. But she planted Loki in disguise as the frost giant Thok, and he refused to weep, leaving Balder in Hell. Now that's cold. Hel inspired Hela from the Marvel Comics and Thor Ragnarok, but also found a place in the D&D 5e Player's Handbook. She's listed alongside the other Norse gods as a neutral evil god of death with a symbol of a half-rotten woman's face. But there isn't any more said about her, and she doesn't show up in any of the main D&D settings. Instead, there is another goddess of death, the Raven Queen. She's lawful neutral rather than evil, and comes from the plane of shadow rather than being sired by a god. But, like Hel, she rules over death in a frozen forest, watching over the souls of the dead as they travel to their final destination. Her worshippers include the Shadar-kai, an offshoot of elves who collect mementos and memories for the living for her to preserve in her fortress of memories. 4. Thor. Thor is one of the most well-known of the Norse gods, due in no small part to his appearance as a superhero in the Marvel Universe. He's depicted as a strong, bearded man wielding the hammer Mjolnir, and he has power over lightning and storms. Every time the Vikings saw lightning, they attested it to Thor's hammer striking down his enemies. Thor is a capable warrior who fights with honor, courage, and a deep sense of duty to his people. He defends Asgard from giant attacks and Midgard from the World Serpent, also known as Jormungandr, another child of Loki. In the prophecies of Ragnarok, the two have their final battle. The god of thunder slays Jormungandr with the great Mjolnir, but the World Serpent venom fells Thor moments after the battle ends, sending his soul to Valhalla. Much like Hel, Thor is listed in the D&D player's handbook. He's a chaotic good deity of thunder, reigning over the domains of tempest and war. But, like Hel, he has no presence in any of the main D&D settings. But there are a few similar gods in the Forgotten Realms. One is Talos, the god of storms. Unlike Thor, who is chaotic good, Talos is chaotic evil. He's happy to see things be destroyed, whether by acts of nature, magic, or even murder. He looks a lot like Thor, strong bearded man, and holds the same power over thunder. His holy symbol is lightning, but he acts more like a bully than a heroic warrior. For that, you'd have to look for Tempest, also known as the Foe Hammer. He's the god of war in D&D's Forgotten Realms. He is the epitome of chaotic good. He rewards those who fight honestly and bravely, but would never favor one side of a conflict for long, instead supporting whoever shared his great passion for battle. And 5, Loki. Loki is a Norse god with the power of shapeshifting, which he uses mostly for pranks and mischief. It's often unclear whose side Loki is on. He's sometimes helping the gods, he's sometimes helping the giants, but he's always causing trouble. One time when the goddess Idun was captured by the giant Thiazi, Loki broke her out, shapeshifted into a falcon, and flew her back to the fortress of the gods in Asgard. And when Thiazi followed him, the gods lit the giant on fire, killing him. Why was Idun captured, do you ask? Loki captured her himself to escape Thiazi's wrath. Talk about playing both sides. In Dungeons & Dragons, Loki is, true to his origin, a shape-shifting god of theft and trickery. But in D&D, he's also a skilled spellcaster with an array of nifty items he crafted himself, like a dagger with infinite venom and boots that let him fly. These abilities are often used to mischievous ends, playing pranks on the other gods, trying to outsmart Odin, and generally causing mayhem. Like in the myths, Loki uses another god's weakness of mistletoe against him, but in this lore, the Norse god Baldur with a U is actually Baldur with an E. Baldur's Gate with a U is actually named after Baldurin, who's a completely different guy. Turns out D&D lore is a little hard to parse, but I guess that's what happens when a game's been added to for 50 years. These Norse myths are only the beginning. The Forgotten Realms has other Norse gods like Tyr and his father Odin, alongside an abundance of other mythological inspiration. But you don't need official stats, lore, or books to go on adventures with your favorite mythological characters. All you need is a good dungeon master. Myself and the other professional dungeon masters at Young Dragon Slayers craft personalized stories based on their players' interests, from Norse mythology to Five Nights at Freddy's. We'll set you off on your own epic adventure through the realms. We run groups for tweens and teens online, so you can join other players your age who share interest in Dungeons & Dragons. Links to learn more about our games and a bunch of other D&D mythology resources are in the description. Thank you for watching and enjoy the chaos.